Welcome back to Work Truck Record Reviews. Today, I have a special guest, Heather Millward from the Glad Girls. And we are talking about her release in 2009, The Burning Moon and Stars.
Actually, says 2010.
Oh, 2009.
Oh, Spotify says 2010.
We're going to talk about this band and the history. So, this project was you and Wesley and Ryan.
Yep.
There's
a few other iterations before
this is her great voice. This first song is called what?
The Long Goodbye.
Okay. I was around, but there's a lot of stuff I don't remember.
So back in 2004, when we were living in Ballard, I started writing, and I was pretty prolific at that. I mean, I wrote all of these songs in this apartment in Ballard that we were living in, and it was always Ryan on drums. So Ryan Maxwell, who played in the Young Sportsmen and Muzzle and the band that made Milwaukee famous. Kind of met him, when we met Greg Collinsworth and all those folks that became our tribe. And Ryan had joined the Riff Brokers on guitar, which was before he became our drummer.
Right. And
we liked a lot of similar music, and he had mentioned I had driven the Small Change up to Stanwood the night that Lupine was moving into the house she lives in now. So what year would that have been? 2003?
2002.
2002.
Well, for sure.
So I had driven up there, and we had started talking about, I asked him to be my drummer, and this was before I felt comfortable really playing guitar and standing up, fine on bass, but it just wasn't, I really put the cart before the horse, far, a block ahead of the horses. But he said yes. And what was really great was he later told me, he's like, I thought there was a good chance your songs might suck. But they didn't. So that was really nice. And then we started playing. We would just goof around before Riff Brokers practice.
Did he ever say it's pretty good for a girl?
Yeah, because that's exactly how Ryan is. Yeah. No.
He never said that.
So we would goof around before Riff Brokers practice, and that's kind of I had already written a few of these songs that I would play at home. And then we just started making more time for it, and Scott Sutherland played bass with us for a show at
the coffee house.
Yeah, Mr. Spot's Chai House, if you all remember that. And I remember we did a Guided by Voices cover, Underwater Explosions.
You were also called the Build-Up.
Yeah.
And then Greg Collinsworth was playing bass.
Yeah.
You guys did a Lock and Keel show.
We did, and I did a Jawbreaker cover, the same Jawbreaker cover that.
That we recorded. Kiss the Bottle.
Yeah, and what was funny, so we were called the Build-Up before the Glad Girls, but it was back in the MySpace days. It's artifacts. Should see if I have any messages in my MySpace account. But I got a message from this really nice band in Colorado called The Build-Up, and they were like, hey, so we're called The Build-Up. Wonder, and I was like,
cease and desist.
It was the most polite suggestion of a cease and desist, and I wrote back to them, I'm like, oh, homies, Colorado homies, it's all yours. You guys have a record out. I was like, I'm so sorry. They're like, no, and we kind of became buddies. In fact, the music was kind of similar. Anyway, so I'm like, oh crap, I have to find a new name. Ugh. So I did by just yoinking a Guided by Voices song.
Now, wasn't there a band called Glad Girls too, as well?
Mm-mm.
No, there wasn't. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So,
but
can we talk about a map for a second?
Sure.
This reminds me of Pete Krebs and Gossamer Wings.
For good reason, because
Is it like that? Can we just rewind to the intro again real quick?
Yeah.
Sounds like Sweet on a Rose.
And just for clarification, that's Ryan doing it. I'm Eric guitaring to my own song.
Yeah. Heather play, and her little fingers, like
Little sausage fingers.
yeah, just making these sounds in the shape of like what the hell is going on. It's like a little magic show. It's like
Ta-da!
it's very interesting. Anyway, I don't know if it would appeal to everybody, but if you see Heather play guitar, it's a very curious thing how whatever's happening with her fingertips and where they land, it's deceptive. It doesn't look like it could be possible, but she has her anatomy makes these great sounding chords.
Thanks.
I would say, and you can hear it in this song. Just that kind of like, oh, this is Ryan as well. Right.
I did do a pretty killer guitar solo in this song coming up, if I say so. It was a serviceable solo.
So, yeah, Ryan's done a lot of great work on the fly.
Yeah, he did this completely on the fly. Like it never.
He did a great solo on that Riff Brokers, well, some Riff Brokers records, but this isn't about the Riff Brokers. This is about the Glad Girls. Let's talk about your bassist on this record and
Wesley,
how he came into the picture.
So, I guess I always thought of this band as people doing things that are not their primary like instruments, you know, because Ryan was just playing guitar mostly at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was solely playing guitar, and so when he started playing drums, it was like this thing where
he played drums way back in high school.
Or earlier,
no,
he's
right?
he'd been completely, a but just in that moment, you know, like
yeah.
I was primarily a bass player, he was primarily a guitar player, and Wesley was the front guy for Young Sportsmen. So I thought, oh, how fun would that be? And so Wesley is a killer bass player.
Yeah.
And
did he sing backups on any of the songs?
And Wesley's just a wonderful singer. So yeah, there was.
Here comes disappointment.
Yeah, I played a glockenspiel solo in this.
Oh, really? Let's open. So this is still in its wrap. We're going to open it to see what. Because I forgot what the artwork looked like inside.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, please. No, I was looking at you like that because it was.
So there's some taxidermy on the record.
Mm-hmm. Angel O'Leary photo.
Oh.
And she helped me.
Angel did all the artwork synthesis, right? From an old postcard or something.
I bought that postcard at an antique store in Montana.
So Kurt Block mastered this. He's I forget how.
He did?
He's been in our life in one way or the other.
Thanks, Kurt. Why did I not know that?
Oh, I'm in the thank you list here. Nick Millward, Heather Montgomery, and Maureen Brindle. So the partners of all three Glad Girls. Kurt Block, Angel O'Leary, Vina Rust, Kelly Klein, the Tripwires, and all of our Unsmashable family. Wow. The artwork is just killer on this. Like,
I love that.
Glock's. That's genius.
Oh, thanks.
Great.
Well, and Kelly and John, besides being our dearest homies, Kelly was how I got a glockenspiel. Her and John gave me a glockenspiel for Christmas that year. So I was like, that sucker's going to end up on the record.
I thought there were only 5 songs. There's 7 songs on this album. That's killer.
Thanks.
I mean, this is like an extended EP so I forget how it gets categorized as an LP as opposed to EP, but 7 songs is cutting it as far as being a full album.
It's sitting on the...
It's got that great indie rock look of the 2000s. Or the 90s even. Kind of looks like a...
And also the
killer.
70s.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, what a great green... So Angel O'Leary must have done this.
The green tinge. Although, interestingly... Oh, hey, here's this one.
Plains, Montana.
This is the first one I wrote from this whole record. I mean, not the first song I
About
ever
a real
wrote.
place. Casino written.
Yeah.
The Rip Huggers covered this song on... what album was that?
Facing Away From It.
Oh, right. So I had a turn at singing this song, which is...
You did great.
Thank you. It's challenged my range a little bit.
Capo on the 3rd fret.
Nice. So, what did your grandma think of this song?
Oh, my grandma, who lived in Montana for 50 some years, I was talking to her on the phone and I said, so I wrote the song and it's called Plains, Montana. She's just quiet for just barely a second. I was like, what is it about? Casinos?
You nailed it, Grandma.
Nice work, Grandma. That's my muse, I guess. Sagebrush. Sagebrush is my muse.
Right.
And larch trees and Selkirks.
Let's hear Burning Moon and Stars. That's the title track.
Can I say, first off, I know somebody's going to say this. I fully ripped off Black Flag's Nervous Breakdown.
I'm not familiar with that song.
Oh, wait till you hear it.
Message.
No, my phone says I'm listening to it too loud.
Oh. So what
And Wesley's bass playing on this is just, I mean, of course, Brian's drumming's incredible.
What album is the Black Flag song on? You said you ripped off Black Flag.
Yeah, I ripped off that.
What album is that song you said?
I don't remember what record it's on.
What's the name of the song again?
Oh, it's called Nervous Breakdown.
Nervous Breakdown, okay. But let's hear All Light Out.
I had to just tell him. I just had to tell you
This is another Pete Krebs kind of sound going on.
Is it?
Well, it reminds me of Pete Krebs.
Probably would make. I mean, it makes sense because I was listening to it. I love Pete Krebs.
And we would see Pete Krebs when we moved here to Seattle. He'd play up at the Hot Vine, just his little solo acoustic shows, which was killer.
I remember the first time when we was right after we moved here, and I was flipping through The Stranger, the Seattle Weekly, and I was like, oh my God, Pete Krebs is playing at the Hop-In, and it's like $1 to get in, and I thought, man, it was on a Sunday night, and I thought, oh, it's going to be packed, we better get up there early. Nobody there. It was me with a really stupid look on my face, like, oh my God, because I would, just that, I'm drawing a blank again, because I had a really long nap today, so I'm a little groggy. That record that I love of his so much that has Orleans and Brigadier, yeah. So I discovered him with that split 7-inch he did with Elliot Smith, I think 94. And I was like, hey, this guy's really good. And then I got Brigadier and I'm like, wow, that's really good. I think I got it in like 95. So I'd been listening to him for quite a while, and you know, coming from a smaller place, he had this just this swirl of mystery celebrity in my mind, just because I loved him so much, and I'm like, surely there must be hundreds of other stupid faces that want to be there on a Sunday night, a rainy Sunday night. No, it was just me going, trying not to make him uncomfortable. If any of you know him, tell him I said sorry.
Can I tell my Ben Shepherd story?
Yeah.
So I was at the Sunset one night, and this must have been maybe mid to late 2000s, probably late 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never met Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden. He was just hanging out and talking outside where people were smoking, and he was engaged in these stories, giving his bass away to some indigenous people in Australia. And anyway, it was, and also
Very
stories
sweet.
about frightening Brian May of Queen, like scaring the shit out of him. But I didn't clock who he was, and so I said, oh, because he's telling these band stories. I'm like, so what band are you in? He's like, Soundgarden, and I'm like, oh shit, this is Ben Shepherd. Like he's kind of a bruiser. Like I better watch what I say around him, because
Don't get punched in the face.
he's he can be. Oh, he's got a reputation of kind of taking no shit or whatever, and so I quickly on my feet. I was like, oh shit, you were on that Pete Krebs record, that Sweet on a Rose and the Gossamer Wings thing. And he's like, oh, and then instantly he was like really cool. Because he had a lot of fun playing on the record, and
his bass playing was just wonderful on it.
Yeah.
And Wesley played very similarly, which I love, just instinctually, like, did what I heard in my mind with the songs.
Yeah.
The song's pretty broody. We were right before he start, the song was on, and you're like, wow, that's really mean. And I was like, it's not about you. It's just this kind of a fictional tale of made-up characters.
Right. This last one, Vicious, goes out with a kind of a jaunty rock and roll thing. There's Wesley's voice. So I want to talk a little bit about the recording of this album. A guy named Neil Martin, right? Mm-hmm. Is he even in the credits here?
I think so.
That was in Tequila somewhere?
It was. Yeah, Neil Martin.
Oh, yeah, recorded by Neil Martin.
Mixed by Eric Olson and mastered by Kurt Block.
Now, I forget anything else about Neil Martin. Like,
he was just really nice. He worked in radio with Dick.
Oh, Dick Rossetti.
Yeah.
So that's how we came across him.
And he had 2 really adorable basset hounds, and Wesley and I had to be set back into focusing on the task at hand, because every time they would come, gee, that bass line is so good. Wesley, yeah, he was just in his basement in Tukwila. He was a really nice guy. Sure did, and it was a gift from Oli, so thanks, Oli, because he wanted my songs out in the world.
So currently, I don't know if you could find a copy of this, a physical copy anywhere.
You can listen on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, well, and it's streaming on Spotify too.
Mm-hmm.
So
you don't need to buy it. Just enjoy it if you like it.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you know my email address, maybe I could put one on Discogs for like $15.99. What's this?
Huh, you know what?
What does it suggest after?
A band called the Inbreds?
Weird.
That's really weird. No.
Inbreds get a free plug on my show.
So, thanks for having me on about this.
Thanks for coming
I
onto
hope
the
it
truck.
doesn't appear that you are biased, but he's possibly the most brutally honest to a fault person I've ever met.
Off camera.
You should see, like, if I'm wearing a bad pair of shoes, which is often because I've really graduated into the Croc life and Skechers. Anyway, I know you wouldn't have me if you didn't like it, but that's really nice of you.
No, it's a worthy album to discuss on this show, where part of the work truck appeal, I think, is that cover some records that are unnoticed, are little gems.
And I'm not and never was a promoter of self. Remember, I got a review of it with a certain
Jack Rabbit, like the
no.
What was his magazine called?
No, it wasn't the Big Takeover. No, It was a local online magazine, and not Three Imaginary Girls, because they're lovely.
Mm-hmm.
where the guy who runs it was a huge fan of the Sportsman, understandably so.
Oh, so he wanted to cover something that involved some sportsmen.
Yeah, and he was like, my kids liked her voice.
That's a huge prop.
I know. I was like, well, kids don't lie. So that was nice.
Yeah.
The two little girls liked my voice, but
Nice.
pretty in-depth about the sportsman's musicianship, which is understandable. But
Thanks again for coming on.
thanks for letting me wear the vest.
Yeah. Well, it's required. It's OSHA standard here. So I guess we're going to go out to Target.
Yeah, we're going to get some lunch, too, because...
It's 12:43.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been nice talking to you.
See you next time. The sun is
Bye.
out.
Sun's out, guns out.
Peace and love.